Let's talk about the Joint Commission and the role a Joint Commission plays in reviewing a hospital's performance.
Thank you.
Mr. Hunter.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bork. Good afternoon, Mr. Hunter.
I thought you said you didn't have to report.
I don't know, sir. You're not
listening.
Perhaps I'm not being clear today. I do not have access to the 2018 report.
That sound was Hunter's soul leaving his body.
I thought I buried this Dracula several years ago.
But you have an opinion to a reasonable management probability that the failure of the medical executive committee to address this caused or contributed to the harm of Mike Kowalski.
Objections beyond scope.
You can answer.
Thank you. I do believe that this failure on the part of the governing body contributed.
And this particular individual happens to also be remarkably charismatic and have phenomenal hair to combine with my, I guess, phenomenal beard.
At 2, Rob, you're going to jump on the good hair stuff too? Really?
Dude, why not? I mean, I can't keep this thing in order.
Thank you for that. And speaking of looking fabulous, coming to the program right now, Dr. Joe Corcoran, who we have also labeled here as Dr. Good Hair. How are you?
I'm great. Can you? Well, hello again, advocates, and welcome back. Welcome back. It's I will tell you today, there were times today I wasn't sure that we were going to have power for having a live stream tonight. The storms that came through today were so unbelievable. Now it's an absolutely spectacular day. I mean, I called my wife and let her know that at one point the rain was coming down absolutely sideways. Happy to be here, happy to be safe, and happy to be with you again today. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you for all the recovery addicts who have jumped over and joined this evening. I do want to start by giving a shout out to Cody Cairns. Cody Cairns is our newest moderator, and I'm so happy to have his help on this program. Cody will be joining the other moderators in making sure that the chat stays at a good level, right? There's an awful lot of folks who follow some other channels that bring a lot of kind of that wrong energy to it. And one of the things that I hear back frequently is just how great it is that we don't have that issue here. And I give a lot of credit to the moderators. So Candace and Jules, you guys do an incredible work. And Cody, I will tell you, the bar is up here, my friend. So welcome to moderating, and you got a tough shoes to fill. So thank you for joining, and thank you for all your help in making this possible and keeping the chat not only on track, but on a high level. And I appreciate all the advocates for the positive energy that you continue to bring to this channel. Thank you so much. I also want to say thank you not only to the recovery addicts who have jumped in and joined the advocates tonight, but also to their Sherpa, Scott, the recovery addict himself. Scott's such an incredible guy. He does great work on the Recovery Addict channel, and if you're not familiar with his channel, you need to be. He does terrific work, live streaming trials, adding commentary. You see him in in my intro. He's the one who talks about Howard Hunter's soul leaving his body when I didn't didn't get rude. Scott's just a good guy. He does great work. So please check him out at Recovery Addict. Scott has also been enormously helpful in helping me cure some technology issues. Right now, it's interesting. I'm trying a different setup today where I only have the one window open the StreamYard open. I'm trying to get rid of the double hearing thing. And so this is working. I don't hear double, but thing that concerns me a little bit is I don't hear myself back right now. So we'll figure that out, but it's better than getting the 7-second delay. So thank you for your help there, Scott. And also, Scott is the creator of the burner phone concept that he has graciously allowed me to follow on, and he's actually helping me troubleshoot that as well. So hopefully by the live streams next week, we'll have that sorted out as well. So thank you, Scott, and thank you to all the recovery addicts that are a part of the advocates community tonight. I don't know if anybody watches. I'm not a golfer. I am somewhat reluctantly trying to become one because it's an important activity for my son, and if it's important to my kids, it becomes important to me. As I will tell you that as you heard, if you followed the trial, you may have heard during the trial that I put a high emphasis on being a dad. Before all else, and a husband to the gregarious Greek goddess. Try to do the best I can, and so I gave up the game of golf, 1995-ish. Literally, just quit the game. I was so bad at it, and all these lessons, I wasn't getting any better, and it was taking so much time out of my weekends that I just walked away from it. Golf is a scourge on the land. Nice, Adam. But, this is the high holy days, and the Masters kicked off today. And some of you know that my daughter goes to SMU, and that is the alma mater for Bryson DeChambeau. And Bryson can be a pretty polarizing player. He makes a lot of people happy. He makes a lot of people unhappy. But he shot one heck of a round today, and he's now 7 under. So he is. I know the field got a late start because of the bad weather, same bad weather that we had here in Florida. But and there's a lot of great golfers still out on the course. But Bryson DeChambeau, proud SMU alum, is right now sitting on top of the leaderboard. So. Super excited for him and for my daughter and all of her friends that are celebrating his lead in really this is golf's Super Bowl. Even when I walked away from golf, there was always one weekend a year that I would watch, and I wouldn't watch I wouldn't watch hours of it, but if I saw it on TV, I'd stop and watch, and this is it. And it's simply because the course has so much history, and it is such a beautiful site, and so many amazing, almost magical traditions there. And I'm a traditional guy. I'm an old school guy, and I love the tradition there. One of the clips that I saw on Twitter earlier today was Jack Nicklaus, 6-time Masters champion, teeing off at age 86. And his wife was his caddy. And just watching the two of them, I think her name is Barbara, and watching the two of them, they've been married 60-something years. And there's still such a tangible fondness and between the two of them. I mean, it's an inspiration. So anyway, beginning of the high holy days for golfers. Congratulations to Bryson and all the proud SMU alums who are cheering him on. So, speaking of high holy days, as we talked about the other day, we coming up on a pretty active phase, going back to an active phase in the Take Care of Maya trial, Kowalski v. Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, and that means mediation. And so I know that Greg Anderson and Nick Whitney are heading to town. I know that they're arriving here in Tampa on Sunday. I know that Monday is when the mediation actually gets started. It's going to take place downtown at the offices of Hillward Henderson, the firm that Howard Hunter and Ethan Shapiro are partners in. David Hughes. I don't know who's going to be there from to represent their side. I would imagine that both Mr. Hunter and Mr. Shapiro will be there. I don't know if Mr. Hughes. I don't know if Ms. Cruels will be there or not. But I know that Nick and Greg are both coming down. I have to tell you that again, I'm Pollyanna. I will always, always, always view the glass half full. It's just my nature, and I'm unapologetic about being an optimist. And I am so hopeful that they find a way to resolve this, because it's what I want for the Kowalski family and the 7+ years of healing that has been put on hold, largely just suspended, while this case worked its way up through the grind, including 2 trips to the Second District Court of Appeals. This case is going to the Second District Court of Appeals within the next several months. It's already been there twice, okay, which is highly unusual. And think about all the highs and lows that everybody goes through as they're working the process. And I think those highs and lows have been extreme for the Kowalski family. And it's really kind of kept them off a big task, and that is healing from the loss of Beata, and how important it is for a 10-year-old, 11-year-old girl, an 8 or 9-year-old boy, a husband who anticipated a lifetime together, like Jack and Barbara Nicholas, to suddenly just have that matriarch, that presence gone. And so there's a lot of healing that needs to take place there. And it's not going to fully happen. It's not going to fully occur until this is over. So I am Pollyanna. I am hopeful. It is my fervent hope, wish, prayer that mediation next week is successful. It will take place Monday through Wednesday here in Tampa. Again, I've already shared with you on Monday that Greg Anderson is not at all optimistic. They do have a mediator who knows the case, but I hope that by Wednesday night I can tell Greg I was right and you were wrong. But he's done this a whole lot more than all of us combined have. My apologies to any appellate lawyers in the audience, but I'm asking this group to send all your positive energy, all your positive prayer, all your if you have a birthday cake and you get to blow out the candles, if you could throw in one for a successful mediation on behalf of the Kowalskis, that would be fantastic. Again, not expecting much, but let's as a community send them what we've got. Positive. I do want to share a page. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, come on. It's not here. Yeah, here it is. So this this goes back to February 20th. And actually, there was some stuff before that. But really, starting on about the 20th of February, you can see all these transcripts, transcript, notice of filings, designations, transcript, receipts. Look at the page numbers. Here's 10,665 pages, 164, 180, 122, 209 pages. These are all transcripts that have been filed in support of, here's the word, appeal, the appeal. So, Johns Hopkins is leaning in. They have submitted all in. Again, look at the sizes of these files: 400 pages, 400 pages, 400 pages, 300 pages, 300 pages, 300 pages, 400 pages, 400 pages. And we're still in March here, folks. Okay. So there's another interesting, and I don't know if you're seeing this or not. Oh, no, here. So I'm not sure if you can see this. Let me see if I can present another. Yeah, here it is. So this is kind of interesting. This is a notice filed by Karen Rushing. Karen Rushing is the Sarasota clerk of circuit court, okay? And so I won't read this word for word, but I just want you to understand. Karen Rushing, Sarasota clerk of circuit court, on February 15th, received notice that Johns Hopkins was going to appeal. Under the rules of the appellate procedure, the clerk of court has 50 days to prepare the record on appeal and serve a copy of the index. So the index is the table of contents, right? On April 15th, which is 60 days after the filing, the clerk is required to electronically transmit the record. After receipt of the last filed transcript, the clerk immediately began efforts to perform its duties. A month in, on March 19th, it experienced technical limitations. Look at this. Because the appellate record consists of approximately 200,000 scanned pages, the clerk is experiencing a novel technical difficulties in creating the appellate record. I've reached out for help, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is that here is Karen Rushing through her counsel, Amanda Davey, Esquire, saying, I'm overwhelmed, which is kind of a big deal. Again, I'm not an appellate lawyer. I don't follow that. I never followed this stuff until I met you guys. But 200,000 pages kind of tells you that All Children's is all in. Um, when the clerk of court is overwhelmed, uh, that I can't imagine that is a normal, typical experience. So maybe we have to send some positive energy to Karen Rushing as well. But that's the kind of that's if that's an indication of where Johns Hopkins All Children's is in terms of their appeal. Um, I'd say that they are leaning in, and of course, there are appellate attorneys working on behalf of not only Hopkins All Children's but Hopkins the system. At the tail end of that document, you could see names of two appellate attorneys, Mr. Steichleather, and I can't remember the second attorney out of his firm, but they are out of Baltimore. They have handled appeals for Hopkins before, so they're definitely leaning in. It'll be it'll be a dogfight. Somebody in the chat earlier, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to scroll through and find out, but somebody in the chat asked if the mediation was going to be live streamed. Absolutely not. The mediation is a closed proceeding, and that's purposeful. So, in fact, I don't believe that there will be much discussion by any of the involved parties about what takes place inside that room. No, there will not be anything coming out, nothing shown online, nothing streamed. This is one stream that even Scott at Recovery Addict won't be able to show. And believe me, he's the master at getting access, but you really need to be watching his program. So again, there's a lot going in, and 200,000 pages of scanned documents already may be an indication of how aggressively they'll be pursuing the appeal. And you know what? It makes sense on one hand, because it's a big number, and they've got they've got this counting against them. Again, credit to my friend Scott at Recovery Addict and his son who built this. This is online at Top Mark Media, one of Scott's secondary channels. Has almost 4,000 subscribers, and I'll bet you a lot of people subscribe just to keep an eye on this interest clock. So already, let me refresh. So already the interest accrued is almost to $4.3 million. By the time, so this is going up by $52,000 or $56,000 a day. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, add another 200,000. So this will be at $4.5 million during the opening of mediation on Monday. $4.5 million in interest that is owed on top of the $208,451,000. That is the amount of the verdict after it had been adjusted by Judge Carroll through the remitter process. So their total owed is up to $212 million. And again, by Monday, this will be at $213 million. So that is one reason for the hospital to maybe have a different level of motivation about finding a way to solve this. Another reason is why I titled the episode today as "Blood in the Water." So I already shared with you back in, I want to say it was in December, that our friends at Tampa General received a record donation from Pam and Les Muma. Now, Pam and Les Muma are very, very well known in the Tampa Bay area. They have been enormously successful in business. Let me pull that back up, and incredibly generous with supporting not just Tampa General, but many, many, many community assets. But Pam and Les Muma were responsible for what Tampa General described as a transformational record donation. And again, this was on December 16th. It was published. I brought it to you just before the Christmas break. And specifically, in recognition of the donation, the hospital announced that it will be renaming its children's facility as the Muma Children's Hospital at Tampa General Hospital at TGH. It's a 138 bed hospital, children's hospital, and keep in mind that Maya was actually at that 138 bed unit during her time leading up to the admission to All Children's Hospital. I want to say she was there in the summertime, June, July, and was ultimately admitted to All Children's for the last time in October, first week of October, as a 10-year-old. So Tampa General got a $25 million donation from the Mumas to really set up a children's hospital. Keep that in mind. Then there was this. Along comes Baycare, another not-for-profit hospital corporation here in the Tampa Bay area. They just announced that they are building their 17th hospital, all in the Tampa Bay area. Okay. Not to be outdone by Tampa General Hospital, St. Joseph's Children's Hospital, to be renamed in 2030 after a record donation. It will become the Pajatapati Children's Hospital at St. Joe's. And this is pretty amazing. So a Tampa Bay family, mom and dad are both physicians educated in India. They get married. These two newlywed Indian physicians immigrate to the US. The mom goes on to become a very well-respected pathologist in the Tampa Bay area. The dad goes on to become a very highly skilled pediatric anesthesiologist, also in the Tampa Bay area. These two young doctors make Tampa Bay their home. They have a family. They have two sons and a daughter. Each of their children have these phenomenal careers. And I think this is just the coolest thing. Again, you know how I feel about family, right? So the gift, one of the largest in Tampa Bay history, according to the Baycare Health System, was made by one of the sons, Sid Pajatapati, a Tampa entrepreneur, as well as his brother and his sister who contributed to it. This is so that Baycare, St. Joseph's, the operators of St. Joseph's Hospital, and right now St. Joe's has a women and children's hospital. It's an older facility that was built, I want to say, in 1990 or so, but it's all part of their main campus. The new hospital will replace the existing 219-bed children's facility Yeah, that was founded in 1990, shares the campus, and the new hospital will be named for the family. What I think is really fantastic, and there's the mom and dad, and they are both retired, and God knows they earned it. They had remarkable careers, um, but it is made to honor their parents, and it coincides with their 50th wedding anniversary and the 50th anniversary of their immigration to the United States. My goodness, one can only dream that your children will be so successful and so thoughtful about um, about number one, honoring their parents, and number two, supporting the community. Here's the important thing to understand. This is not coincidental. This is not um, this is not the Moomas and the Pageantipatties suddenly feeling altruistic and wanting to help kids. The woman in this picture next to Sid is Stephanie Connors, and she is the CEO of Daycare, the parent organization that supports St. Joe's Hospital. In the photograph with the Moomas, John Couros, who is the CEO of Tampa General, he is 5 years into a very rare 10-year contract that the board gave to him. By the way, he used to be a facility leader with Baycare, and then he went over to the East Coast and ran hospitals in Jupiter. Did a great job. Got recruited back to Tampa General. I spent more than 10 years with HCA, which is a very, very highly regarded, very effective hospital operator. I had the opportunity to work with some incredibly talented people. I will tell you that I don't know that I've met two more strategically talented leaders than John Couros and Stephanie Connors. They didn't, pure supposition on my part, pure supposition, but listen, I've been in this game for a while, right? They didn't just passively come by $75 million of altruism and decide, hey, well, let's use this for children's hospitals. There's blood in the water, folks. There's blood in the water. These two strategic leaders, Ms. Connors and Mr. Couros, they know that they have an opportunity to reshape this market. Now, Tampa Bay area, okay? So those of us who live here, on our side of the bay, we just say the whole thing should be called Tampa, and the folks on the other side of the bay say it should all be called St. Pete, right? But the Tampa Bay area was the benefactor of a lot of the migration out of California, New York, New Jersey, states where COVID was handled differently. Florida actually grew. We actually added, I can't remember what the final or what the running tally is, but nearly 1 million citizens in the last couple of years. Tampa Bay was one of those destinations that grew the fastest. And, so this is an active, growing area. And you may have heard that there's a lot of folks who retire to Florida. And what do retirees need? Hospitals. But what's interesting is that so the hospitals have always been highly competitive. It's not easy to run a hospital, okay? And you think about making sure that your ER works and making sure that your operating room works and making sure that you've got good doctors and nurses and physical therapists and respiratory therapists and food service and all the people that need to do their jobs well if a patient is going to have a good experience and a successful healing experience at your hospital. That's part of it, and that's an important part of it, and that's running the business of the business. But what they're doing now is they see an opportunity. They see Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital is bleeding, is damaged. And so, again, this $75 million of altruism, of philanthropy, didn't just fall into their laps. There's been a lot of work done by John Couros and by Stephanie Connors with the Muma family, with the Pagitapati family, and God bless them for their philanthropy. Listen, my kids are too old to benefit from it, but God willing, if my grandkids, if my kids need it, the Muma family and the Pagitapati family are helping to provide a great environment for my grandkids, okay? But this is strategic, folks. This is John and Stephanie saying, we can be the dominant player. We can be the children's hospital. And, my amazing graphic artist, Sally, who stays up way past her bedtime to help me on these live streams because she's in the UK. But she put together a map that will, Sally, if you can pop that up. So if you look, this is the Tampa Bay area. And again, for those who aren't familiar, we're on the west coast of Florida. So the Gulf of Mexico is way over here. Orlando is that way. You can see underneath the Dr. Goodhair logo, you can see I-4. And if you follow I-4, it takes you not only to Dinosaur World, but ultimately to Disney World. Keep going, and it'll take you to Daytona Beach. It'll take you to the NASA Space Center, Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral, as it used to be called back in the day. So I want you to understand, bottom left of your screen, that is Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. It is a hospital that's been around for more than 100 years. It's been part of Johns Hopkins since they acquired the hospital. It was not sold, it was given to Hopkins. And if you read some of what was going on with the hospital at the time, it was a little bit of a savor of a Hail Mary. The hospital was having challenges. They affiliated with Johns Hopkins, believing in the strength of that brand, right? And as we discussed during the trial, them acquiring the hospital was very much a branding exercise. By Dr. Napolitano and Dr. Perno, they said they didn't bring any change to quality, to patient safety, to processes, but they put their name on that hospital. And it really did boost the credibility of the hospital in the community. And so, but you look at the geography of where it's located, and keep in mind that on that side of the bay, that's where historically retirees have settled. Now, there's a lot of families, particularly in the center portion of the peninsula, okay? But along the coasts, both on the bay side and on the Gulf side, that's a lot of retirees, okay? So All Children's has aggressively gone out and recruited patients from the South. JHACH drove Maya to the hospital that night, he came up. You can't see the bridge on this view, but he came up that Interstate 275 that is kind of going into the image of Johns Hopkins All Children. He came from Sarasota and Venice, which is about an hour and a half south. So Johns Hopkins was very aggressive about going after these kind of peripheral markets. Now look at what's happening. Tampa General, which is right in the heart of downtown. Tampa General is a mile from my house, mile and a quarter. I live kind of in that same area. Tampa General has access to all those eastern communities. Okay, so everything in kind of the green and white on the right side of your map. That area, and you can see Brandon is right in the center of it, and that's where my hospital was. And if we could flip to a Google Maps satellite photo, you would see that where Brandon Regional Hospital is, my old hospital, it is completely surrounded by rooftops, and families live in those rooftops. They have built more schools in that area than almost any place else in the state of Florida. The Brandon area at one point was the fastest growing metroplex, or MSA, in the state of Florida, which was the fastest growing state in the union. Okay, Tampa General, by its geography, captures all of that from the eastern suburbs. St. Joe's, which is just north of downtown, it's actually very, very close to Tampa Airport. If anybody's ever flown into Tampa Airport, as you look to the east from the airport, you see Raymond James Stadium where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. Okay. Most of the time they play. Sometimes they just show up, but they've also won a Super Bowl there too. So, but St. Joe's is immediately immediately northeast of the airport in Raymond James. They have access to all those northern suburbs, plus north of that are Pasco and Hernando counties, which are, again, suburbs, families, right? So now you've got All Children's, which is damaged, which is bleeding, which is fighting 200,000 pages of scanned pages of documents. They are fighting the injury of a $261 million jury verdict, reduced down to $208 million, now up to almost $13 million, and all the reputational damage of a trial that was also part of a Netflix series, which will soon be part of a book. James DeFelice, again, his books sell. People read Jim DeFelice books. He wrote American Sniper, which became a Bradley Cooper movie, right? People will read Jim DeFelice's story about this whole episode, including the trial. They are going to be more and more isolated on that southern peninsula that is surrounded by seniors. St. Joe's got a $50 million donation from the Pagetapati family to honor their parents and to build from scratch a brand new hospital. Tampa General got a $25 million donation from the Muma family, specifically so that they could take their children's hospital within the hospital and make it a destination. Both do great work today. What those two donations do is they accelerate the future. And both of them are doing this because they know that right now, All Children's has owned the marketplace for 100 years. they see an opportunity. John Couros, Stephanie Connors, their teams, thinking strategically, smelling blood in the water. They're not being subtle, folks. There's some great feel-good articles about these donations. But the story behind the story is that these two brilliant, strategic leaders know this is a once-in-a-career opportunity to reshape the marketplace. They are going to try, through creating their own children's hospitals, they are going to try to move the epicenter of children's care from the southern tip of the Pinellas Peninsula to the heart of downtown Tampa, or just north. You know, listen, I told you, I don't really watch the Masters. I don't follow golf, but when the Masters comes along, I start to pay attention, right? I know that you guys aren't junkies about running hospitals like I am, but this stuff is the freaking Super Bowl for me. This is two strategic leaders seeing an opportunity, going out and finding philanthropists who believe in their vision. And I'd say when you're writing checks for $25 and $50 million out of your family savings, that's believing, folks. This is the Super Bowl of hospital leadership, and you're seeing it played out. I get a front row seat to it. I literally drive by Tampa General every day, and I get a front row seat to watch this play out. The longer that Johns Hopkins fights, the more that they get tied to this, the more that the dominant story is that they're still fighting, denying. I mean, again, go back to the jury form. 44 questions asked. How many of them went in support of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital? 0. Not one. It was 44 to nothing. And the longer that they are locked in on fighting this, the longer they're going to maintain that reputational damage, the longer they are going to have to, the deeper they are digging in for when Jim DeFelice's novel comes out. Who knows if there's going to be a movie? Who knows? Who knows? But you haven't heard the last of Jack, Maya, Kyle, Greg, Nick. And the longer that they have juice and they're out there in the public, that's a deeper hole for Johns Hopkins to recover from. And again, you've got two leaders in Stephanie Connors and in John Couros who are not going to help them out of that hole. They see an opportunity to take their organizations and elevate their position. And you know what? Thanks to the Mumas, thanks to the Pagidipati family, they're able to do it. This is going to be interesting, folks. I just wanted to bring this to you because, again, you don't see dynamics like this in this marketplace very often. But, you know, I thought it was a big deal back in December when I shared the news about the Mumas and their $25 million commitment to TGH. Holy moly. When I read yesterday about the Pagidipati family's gift of $50 million, it was, you know, the only thing I kept thinking is game on. game on. The two biggest competitors in the marketplace are saying, coming at you, coming at you. So, really, All Children's, I guess if they could find somebody to write a check for 75 million, I don't know. Maybe they throw down that ace up the sleeve. But I assure you that that announcement out of Baycare yesterday did not go over well in the administrative suite and among the board members at Johns Hopkins All Children's. So anyway, that's all I've got. I just wanted, and by the way, I do want to point out, Stephanie Connors is fairly new to Baycare. She's been the CEO for a year and a half, I think. And she followed Tommy Nzinga, he led that organization really, really well. Grew it from a concept, excuse me, he grew it from a concept to a highly effective organization for 20 years plus. Stephanie came to Tampa from Thomas Jefferson Hospital, University Hospital in Philadelphia. I trained at Temple, which is up in the northern part of downtown. Jeff is downtown, just east of City Hall, and it was always a fantastic organization. Jefferson adopted or recruited Dr. Stephen Klesko, a medical doctor, to be their CEO, probably, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. And he has mentored Stephanie Connors through kind of the wonder years of her career. Steve Klesko, people love him, some people don't. But Steve Klesko is universally recognized as an incredible innovator and strategic thinker. And I don't have a personal relationship with Stephanie and John Curris. I've met John Curris. I've not met Stephanie Connor. But I will tell you, by reputation, she sounds like she learned well from the master, from Steve Klesko. And I'll tell you, Tampa Bay will be better for her leadership. And Hopkins All Children's has a fight ahead. So I hope that listen. It would be great if there were 3 amazing children's hospitals in our community. It's rare that even large metro communities can support more than one. I think Chicago has 2. Lurie and I think Northwestern, but it's rare, very rare, that a community can support more than one. Some, like New York, can support 2. I don't know that the Tampa Bay area can support 3, but boy, the stakes just got raised, folks. This is going to be interesting to watch, and I promise you that I will keep you up to date with it. As things continue to develop. So stay tuned. So anyway, that's all I wanted to bring to you tonight. I was blown away when I read the headline yesterday. And like I said, this is game on. This is the Super Bowl. So again, this is what I do. I don't watch I don't watch golf other than the Masters. But this is going to be fun. I'll keep you posted. I will also promise to share with you whatever I am allowed to share that comes out of the mediation. Believe me, I will be on in a flash if there is a settlement that allows the Kowalskis to start healing. That is what we want, folks. That is what we want. We want the Kowalskis to be able to heal, to put this trauma behind them, and again, that's where my prayers, my positive thoughts are going to be in the coming days. I will share with you whatever I'm allowed to share. I will tell you I do anticipate having dinner with Greg and Nick. I know that most of that, number one, they won't discuss what they can't discuss. And I will not try to connect the dots and come to my own conclusions. I will only share with you what I know for a fact. Yeah, these are going to be pretty interesting days, and let's just hope that between the where is it? Between the 200 and what will be $213 million, the $4.5 million in interest, and the building pressures that the Pachitapati family and the Muma family just accelerated in the community. Let's hope that the adults in the room see the value in respecting what the jury decided, overwhelmingly, 44-0, that they accept responsibility and accountability, and at the end of the day, they allow the Kowalski family to really start to heal and reconnect as a family. For those of us who have had the privilege of meeting Jack and Maya and Kyle, they are a family that deserves that opportunity to reconnect as a family and continue to grow as a family. I talked with Jack. It's probably been about a week now, and he's done such a phenomenal job under the most difficult of circumstances as a single dad. He has, over the last 7 or 8 years, he has taken 2 good kids and gotten them through middle school. Every parent in the chat right now knows what I'm talking about. Middle school is terrible. Kids should be able to skip middle school. I mean, the social crap that's going on, the hormonal crap that's going on, middle school is the worst. Every parent agrees, right? He got them through those stages, and I will tell you, Kyle's the kind of boy that you would love to see show up at your door to take your daughter to prom. Maya is the kind of young woman who I think she is a mirror. I think she is very much a reflection of her mom. Smart, tenacious, poised. Top of her class in her high school class. I think she's number 2 or 3 in a class of 800, 900 graduates. She has a very bright future. And Jack has been on the hook for getting them through the middle school and high school phases, which are tough, the teenage years, those transition years. And he's done it all under the weight of a 7-year trial. They deserve the time to heal as a son, as a daughter, as a husband, and they deserve the time to reconnect as a family. So, fingers crossed, hands together, knees bent. we can hope. Not much optimism from Greg and Nick, but let's hope, right? So anyway, I'll keep you up to date with what's going on with Tampa General and with Baycare St. Joe's and their children's hospital aspirations. This is going to be, there's some sweaty palms in South St. Pete in the admin suite at All Children's. So it'll be fun. Anyway, hey, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to jump off early. I know some of you have asked that I try to figure out how to do shorter form conversations with you. And I promise you I'll do my best to get there. I was told that Crystal has a question for me in chat. Crystal, I can't find it, so I apologize. I will, if you can post it again real quickly, I'll try to answer for you. But I have not been able to really follow the chat, so I'm relying on my mods to let me know what where the questions are. But hopefully, we were able to get through and answer a lot of your questions in the discussion. Crystal, Dr. Joe, do you think this donation may put JHACH out of business? No. I don't think that the donations themselves will put JHACH out of business. I do think it substantially changes their unit economics and the way that they do business today as opposed to 5 years from now. Keep in mind that after Mr. Shapiro repeatedly articulated that every dollar that the jury awards to the Kowalski family is a dollar that can't be spent on taking care of a kid in Sarasota with cancer. All Children's went out and spent, I think, $29 million on a vacant property up in Pasco County, which is, again, one of those suburban counties to the north. This will kind of intensify the pressure to build out that spoke and hub model. But now they've got two other well-funded competitors who are able to do the same thing. So it will absolutely change the way that they will have to do business going forward. It will not per se put them out of business. And we don't want that, right? We don't want that. There are a lot of good doctors. There are a ton of great nurses and physical therapists and respiratory therapists and food service and people at All Children's Hospital. And we don't want ill for them. All we want is good for the Kowalskis. But I will tell you, my opinion, based on these donations and knowing what I know about John Kouros and Stephanie Connors, they smell blood in the water. It's going to be a different game over the next couple of years. So, hey guys, it's been great. Thank you for joining. I appreciate the participation. I appreciate all the recovery addicts who made it over. Thank you again to Sally for the great graphics work. Thanks to Cody for joining us and being a moderator. Hopefully it wasn't a bad experience. Hopefully we can get you back to moderate a few more of these. Thank you to Gothic Brina. Thank you to Jules. I understand that, Judy, what's your handle? I understand that you came over from a recovery addict, Calypso's Vixen. Thank you for being here and being part of our moderator team as well. And thanks to each of you for what you bring to the community. Thank you for your commitment. thank you for believing that we can do good. But please believe me that it's important that you take care of yourselves so that we can take care of others. I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
I will tell you without hesitation, I will tell you that I did not have this anywhere in my 5-year plan, Mr. Anderson.
That much I believe. Yep.
Well, thank you, everyone. Make sure that you take care of yourself so that we can be taking care of others. I'll look forward to seeing you in the coming days. Again, Kurt and Jules, thank you so much for making this a very dynamic conversation today. I'm grateful for your help.
Oh, kill me now. Please tell me this guy's doing some fraud and there's going to be like an insurance investigator or something.
So, Fred, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for sharing your insights and your experience, and can't wait to bring you back, my friend.
I'm looking forward to it. You won't have to try hard. This was a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody.
You hear that? I get the rest of the day off from doctor's orders. That's what I'm hearing.
I will write that prescription anytime for you, sir. And, this will not be our last conversation, especially if you can get me Samantha Lawrence on the show.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll see you before the hearing next week. But thank you for the honor of being your first guest, Joe. And
You bet.
all the kind words. Appreciate it.
Please, let's make sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. Thank you so much.